happy. We are really stressed. 6 months already that we start with this huge adventure, but actually it's not 6 months because that's 7 years ago that we start. Where the city right now, summer starts, full of people, full of activities. San Sebastian has always been a city with a good programming of cultural events, and right now, so we try to avoid the huge events from the summertime. And we are still working in some small and spread activities that give that finally create this great puzzle that's a whole year cultural program.
So people and citizens in San Sebastian, they participate in the events and they know what's happening. And the other one is about tourists. Okay. Do tourists come to San Sebastian just because they know that it's the capital?
Well, yeah, and the city is completely aware of what's happening. We have San Sebastian is not a big city; it's 180,000 people. So the medias and the cultural agenda, it's all the time explaining what's happening. So the attendance of the citizens of San Sebastian is always very good, and sometimes we think that we have too many activities for our citizens. And in terms of tourism, since the last 2 years, we feel that the increase of visitors is really huge. It's really huge for such a small city that both answering to the Mediterranean is no longer a safe place to trip. So that's a very interesting fact that we have to work in order to develop a sustainable strategy of tourism. For sure, for the tourists, it's always great to come to a place where there are cultural activities, there are theaters, exhibition. Those kinds of projects are the ones that the tourists enjoy more, even if the real value, or I'm not going to say the real value, but the ADN of our project is more focused in small change, small transformation that are produced by other kind of projects.
The money that you had at the beginning, that was enough, or?
Okay, our budget, since the project was designed, has been reduced, by answering to the crisis. But we have a budget around 50 million. For me, one of the most important things is to keep part of the budget in order to use it for the year after. That's a key issue if you really want that the effect of a cultural capital remains. Otherwise, if you burn all the during the year, for the next year, I'm not going to say that's more important than the real year, but at least it's so important. And if you take those numbers, sounds like a huge amount of money, but if you spread all that money in 6-7 years, that's the whole life of a cultural capital. It's not so much. You have to pay a salary, you have to pay many things. So sometimes the numbers make people think, ooh, 50 million, that's... but
Matera, a part of the application of Matera has been focused on creating opportunities for the future of the city, of the town. And the question is, in San Sebastian, did you have some projects that had the same idea, inspiration to create a future development? Maybe these projects are the one you are going to talk about today.
The values of our project, or the main axis of our project, are coexistence, because we're coming from 40 years of a political troubled situation, participation, European dimension, and transforming the cultural field. So if you ask me which project will remain, all of the projects that will remain has a little piece of that. We started doing artistic residences and international collaboration projects since 2-3 years, And for sure that this kind of European networking and the capacity building that's supposed to be part of an European project is amazing. So that's a non-return process, and they will remain for the future. That's for sure one of the first consequences. And the second one is probably more linked with the untangential things that you cannot see them, that are how the, and probably things as Chris told, things that you will perceive them after a few years, and that's about how the people collaborate. We run different projects to match people in order to collaborate in the same regard the same project. And the innovation of the way of doing the transformation in the cultural field, those are the things that I'm sure that they will remain.
The dossier of your candidacy was fully met?
Well, the dossier was written 7 years ago, so that means that it's natural that some changes are made. The dossier has a project that were not, well, in order to, as we had a change in the budget that we were not able to follow them. But at the same time, the world has changed since last 5 years. So for me, the most important thing is to keep the values of the project, to not start doing something else. But the project probably they will change. They must be adapted to the reality. The paper, on the paper you can write whatever you want, but when it is the time to bring it to the reality, you must adapt them. But I would say that we are honest to the whole idea that we have been developing.